Hey guys, welcome to another video of Purple Political Talk here, and today we're going to be talking about the 2020 presidential election and answer a very important question. Is it over for President Trump and his chances at re-election? So we're going to talk about, essentially, does he actually have a fighting chance to win the election? So before we get started, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to be up to date with our latest content. So let's get started. So right now on the screen, you guys have the kind of general consensus where a lot of people are putting the election right now with the margins. And we have to look at this map and analyze what needs to happen for Donald Trump to win electorally. And then we also have to put those things into check of reality. Is it likely those things are happening? And to do that, we're going to use some polls. We're going to use some recent forecast. And we're also going to put in some of my analysis into it and see if it's even possible at this point for Donald Trump to come out and win. So right off the bat, I will tell you there is a possibility of Donald Trump winning. Like, look at 2016. That was a great example. Again, this is not the most direct comparison to 2016, but pretty similar in some ways. And also, I mean, Donald Trump, though, in 2016, he did bring up kind of a little bit more of a surprising victory. And as well, in politics, you can never say never. There's some races you just didn't expect. And honestly, realistically talking, 100% chance Donald Trump does have a chance of winning, although Biden is currently leading on the electoral map and the polling numbers. So when looking at this, I mean, his chances at victory are not that bad because he would just essentially need to flip states that Biden has right now leading in Florida, North Carolina. So if we do Florida, North Carolina, and Arizona, 260. He would need one more state to win. That could be Wisconsin. That could be Michigan. That could be Pennsylvania. That could even be Minnesota. So looking at a chance where the best scenario, or like the easiest scenario for a Trump victory, where he just gets to 270 electoral votes, or a little bit more, I guess, we could say the state of Wisconsin would do it. And I think out of all the scenarios, this is probably one of the more likeliest for a Trump victory. Again, I guess the margins everywhere else would be shifted, but in these states, we also must analyze some things. And looking at some states where Donald Trump has done heavy improvements from 2016, like Florida, Biden is leading by 1.6% in the last polling averages. His polling numbers are going down. And yesterday, there was a poll amongst Florida Hispanics by NBC Marist that had Donald Trump ahead with Florida Hispanics. Again, we all know that Donald Trump does very well with Florida Hispanics. He usually gets at least, he got in 2016, 30% of the vote. Most Republicans get around that with the Florida Hispanics. But this time around, Donald Trump is leading in polling averages we have two polls, so one by the Miami Herald and one by NBC Marist. These polls show Donald Trump with 51% support amongst Hispanics in Florida. Joe Biden only at 48, which is a 20-point gain almost from 2016 amongst Hispanics. And in states like Florida, for Donald Trump, it's not going to be that hard to win. Just looking at some of the recent data that we have. We also had a poll from Miami-Dade County, the most blue county in the state, where Donald Trump is polling 17 points better than he did. This is another poll by the Miami Herald, and if I'm correct, that poll was also backed by NBC Marist. So I think that's something very interesting to see. And we're talking about 1 million total votes, so 17 votes, or 17% is a lot. It's 170,000 votes that Donald Trump could be getting additionally from Florida. So a state like Florida, I think there's no doubt, there's definitely a huge chance of victory for Trump there. I would say right now he could even be leading. We just don't have the polling averages to come through and say all of that. However, what other places can Donald Trump win? Realistically, North Carolina, he's done a lot of rallies there. He went to 2 rallies, and then he also had a lot of excitement for him the other day because he did go to Winston-Salem the other day. And honestly, that's campaigning Donald Trump is going all across the map, which is something that might help them out. Let's suppose that Joe Biden does something bad in the Rust Belt. Joe Biden might be over because he's not campaigning in Arizona. Biden's not campaigning in North Carolina. He's not campaigning in Florida because he doesn't need to. Because at this point, his lead only has to be in the Midwest because without the Midwest, he can win the election. Joe Biden, and for Donald Trump as well, the Midwest is going to be the deciding factor. And the state of Arizona as well. Arizona is a little bit less likely to go by tilt margins, like maybe in the same level of Wisconsin for Donald Trump. For a couple of reasons. One, they're a lot more moderate than in a lot of places. And there's a lot of trending demographics that are Hispanics. However, what I find here is that a lot of the voters, especially in the southern counties of the state, especially down here in Yuma County, which has a big basket of votes, it's definitely not the biggest county, but it has a substantial amount of votes. That if Donald Trump is able to run up the margins there, he could probably win the state of Arizona by narrow margin. And we're talking here, is it over? I mean, honestly, it's not over for Donald Trump, but it's getting tight. And at this point, what I see with this election is the election is going to be tight in a lot of states. And it's going to come down to a couple hundred votes. No, maybe not a couple hundred, but maybe a couple thousand, couple 10,000 votes, which again, for deciding elections, I mean, the smaller the margin, that means the more uproar there will be after results are given. So, just taking a look at this map everywhere else, I mean, Donald Trump, to win, he's going to have to carry the 4 Republican states, I call them, Iowa, Ohio, Texas, and Georgia. He carries those, he's on a good path. He has 204 electoral votes, if I'm correct. Then, he must carry Florida and North Carolina to add that on to the list, to make sure that, because he needs Florida and North Carolina. Without Florida and North Carolina, Donald Trump can't win. That's just a plain fact. Or he could substitute Florida for example, Pennsylvania or Wisconsin. Or Michigan for North Carolina. So it's going to be the numbers games. Let's say that, I think honestly, in the Sun Belt, Joe Biden had a lot of momentum there. He's not using it. So that's one thing that I'm saying, it's not over for Trump. However, electorally, the race is going to be tight. Now, if we look at the map how it currently is, I think, honestly, looking at how it's looking, I guess, and where we're seeing the election headed, because, again, campaigning is an important part of the elections always. And if you're not campaigning in certain areas of the country, you won't get that much support, and that's very important. And, of course, let's just remember, why did Hillary Clinton lose the Midwest? One of the reasons. There's many reasons. She was unpopular, she was this, she was that, she didn't do this. But one of the main reasons that we could say was because she didn't campaign in the Midwest. And Joe Biden, I think, is tackling down the Midwest, but he is not having kind of like other options because, again, it would be a very tough election, I guess, if Joe Biden and his campaign are sitting there and they lose one of the states and then they don't have anywhere else to go because they're banking on the Rust Belt. In my opinion, that's not about a strategy, considering how ahead they are and honestly how good they're doing in the Rust Belt. But I think, honestly, for Donald Trump, the election is definitely narrowing up. And comparing it to where it was in March to now where we're seeing kind of the scope of things going into election day, and actually voters starting to receive ballots for certain primaries that are almost over, and we're going to start getting early voting sometime this month. So that's really going to be impactful, and the election is essentially going to be also decided due to mail-in voting kind of right now. So the events that happen right now will affect a lot of the Democratic vote and some independent vote, but days leading up to the election could decide if the Republicans go out in the masses for Trump, which, I mean, if you think about it, they should. So overall, Donald Trump's chances at the presidency, they're not the highest they've been for any president, and they're actually not with him. However, would I say it's over? No. Donald Trump still does have a chance, however you look at it. Now, it's going to be a hell of a lot difficult if he's going to have to fight in the Midwest, and he's going to have to. Even though he wins states like Arizona, Florida, and North Carolina, along with Iowa, Ohio, Georgia, Texas, still going to be a heavy task for President Trump. And honestly, it's going to come down to how they campaign, how they can appeal to the voters, and essentially how they can play politics. And right now, I mean, Donald Trump runs pretty good campaigns in general in the way that he gets his base rallied up, which really might help him towards the end. And that's why we've seen when he ran in 2016, he rallied up his base at the end. He won the race, and honestly, since the incumbent, maybe some people to open their eyes. We don't know how the electorate is feeling. However, what I do know right now, this election is going to be interesting. And even though we're almost like less than 2 months away, it's still very, very, very uncertain in some scenarios. Because again, a couple months ago, like a Biden victory looked like it was right there. It was gonna happen. But now, since like all of these different things that are happening nationwide, the election has definitely changed. So overall, I think it's very interesting to look at Donald Trump's chances. I wouldn't call him done already. He still does have a chance. However, I wouldn't say those chances are astronomically high. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a huge thumbs up, like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to be up to date with our latest content. Hope you enjoyed the video, and goodbye.